I've had a health issue recently that has kept me out of the game. I've had an issue with my hip, and so I haven't been able to walk for like, I don't know, almost 2 months now. It's been really shitty, to be honest. But that got me thinking of all of the times that I had before, all of the opportunities I had to do street photography, and I didn't have the motivation to do it for whatever reason. And so it has just made me more aware of the fact that there are a lot of times that I could have gone out and done street photography and I didn't. And I don't want that to be like the future for me. Like, I want to use the time I have on this earth like in a way that I am going to be proud of and look back on with pride, like late in life. So for me, motivation for doing street photography comes and goes. And I mean, I think that's normal for anyone, and you have to like give yourself the like grace when you don't have like the energy or motivation to do something. I just think that like you shouldn't be like making excuses. Motivation to do street photography for me in recent years like has been, I guess, lower, partly just due to life circumstances and basically focusing more on work and like trying to pay the bills rather than street photography, which I think is, you know, somewhat of a valid reason, but also like I think that I need to do a better job of like compartmentalizing and setting things aside that are kind of out of my control, and making sure that I have and also that I set aside time for doing things that are for me and that I want to do. So for me in recent years, like I've had just not much time to do street photography, and it's not necessarily a motivational thing. I literally haven't had the time to do it because I've been having to work so much. But I think the important thing for me, at least, is that I need to set aside time for street photography, because this is, you know, something that makes me happy and fulfilled. And so I have to do a better job of basically like, yeah, setting aside time to do it. So I want to talk about what motivates me to do street photography, because if I do something or things that motivate me to do it, then I'll be more likely to actually go out and do it. So a big motivator for me to do street photography that like gets me really wanting to do it is going through street photography books. I think this is like the absolute best way to consume street photography. So when it comes to street photography books, a lot has gone into it, you know, behind the scenes that you don't see. Like, they've established a relationship with a publisher. They've worked with an editor, a photo editor, to choose the photos, to sequence them, to edit them, and obviously all of like the things the photographer did to create the body of work. Like, they went out onto the streets like many times and took these photos. And a lot of street photographers travel to do their street photography books. And it's not, obviously not always the case, but that's one of the things that I think of like when it comes to what street photographers like put into this, like the blood, sweat, and tears, like you know, like books from like Alex Webb, like he traveled like all across like Latin America and all over the world to create these books, these like beautiful books. And yeah, so just compare that to what we often see like on social media, which is kind of an unfiltered version. Like everybody feels like they need to share, and not necessarily knocking social media, but it's just like a different viewing experience than street photography books. Street photography books, just like, and you know, photo books in general, obviously, like there has been a lot more thought put into it, a lot more effort put into, you know, creating a body of work. And I think street photos work best like in a project, for the most part. Like I think obviously there are like excellent standalone street photographs that many street photographers have made, but like when you sequence them in a book and like put them in a collection, it like kind of takes on a life of its own and like creates this story. You know, sometimes with street photography books, like, you know, not every photo like is like a banger or, you know, like the best photo. Like there's kind of like, you know, like an ebb and flow of the book. And it's not to take away anything from the, like, you know, the lesser photos. Like oftentimes those like, I don't know, the quieter moments of those like lesser known photos complement the stronger photos, and they help to tell a story or, you know, the narrative of the place or the project. And that's why I love street photo books. So another thing for me that I really enjoy and get a lot out of is watching street photography videos. So like in particular, like someone like Pauly B and his Walkie Talkie series. Like I love those interviews where you learn about other photographers. And there's a lot of other good street photography channels out there. So these channels just like, they, you know, will do various different things, like take you behind the scenes, like show their process. And I just like them. And sometimes it, like when I'm not able to do street photography, it makes me feel like, I don't know, like almost like, I don't know if jealousy is the right word. I just mean that in a sense of like, they have the time and the resources to go out and do street photography. And, you know, sometimes I don't have the time to do it. But regardless, I think street photography YouTube channels are just like an excellent resource to learn about street photography, the how-tos, but also just like, you know, like the vibes of you know, different photographers, like get an idea of their process of how they do things. Like I said, I love interviews and hearing the thought process of other street photographers. And yeah, I think it's like an excellent resource. So lastly, in terms of things that can motivate me to do street photography is like social media, particularly like Instagram. And I've been using Threads a lot recently. It's not the best viewing experience. Seeing photos in like such small sizes is, you know, like on your phone is obviously not the greatest, but I do think there's some value there in, you know, being able to discover the street photography and the art of your peers in the genre. And like I obviously think social media and Instagram can have its downsides. I think you can spend way too much time like doom scrolling through it, and there are a lot of distractions on there as well, which is why I prefer photo books. but I still think there's a lot of value there. So those are a few things that motivate me to get out and do street photography. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Do these things that I mentioned motivate you as well to do street photography, or do other things motivate you? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.